Welcome to CRE Success, the podcast, where we help people working in commercial real estate achieve their professional goals. Check us out online at cresuccess.co/podcast. And now here's your host, Darren Krakowiak.
Hello, we're up to episode 18 of CRE Success, the podcast. On today's episode, my guest is Daniel O'Brien of LJ Hooker Commercial, South Sydney and Inner West. This is our third in the series of interviews with high-achieving agents who have left the big firms to chart their own path by starting their own businesses. In our interview today, you're going to hear from Dan on his top negotiation tips, how he rewards and recognises his staff, and how fun and professionalism go hand in hand to building a winning culture. That's coming up, but first a reminder, if you're not a subscriber to the podcast, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button on your podcast player so you're updated whenever we release a new episode. When you subscribe, you can also download the entire back catalogue of episodes. We have CRE professionals discussing success from so many vantage points, various sectors like retail, office and industrial, various disciplines like leasing, tenant representation, investment sales, property management, project management, valuations and even auctioneering. Plus we've got people from big global companies, from major national brands and also independent firms, and we have service providers and corporate real estate professionals. We've even got a flexible space founder and a prop tech executive. The whole gamut of commercial real estate in our back catalogue, plus some great bonus episodes on prospecting and passion. Every episode is designed to help you learn from others so you can apply some of their methods to achieve success more quickly. Hopefully you don't need any more convincing. Go and check out the back catalogue and also subscribe so you're the first to hear our new interviews, and also you'll be the first to know about the special bonus episodes that we'll be releasing over the rest of this year. Stick around though, because I've got a great episode right now. It's an interview with Daniel O'Brien of LJ Hooker Commercial, and it starts in 30 seconds. If you're interested in the flexible workspace boom happening across Australia, Hub Australia is one of the best operators with 7 beautiful sites in 4 capital cities. They offer premium workspaces with desks, offices and suites, and partner with landlords and corporate customers to provide and produce high-quality workspaces, making sure their members love coming to work. If you have a client or partner looking for their next workspace or business opportunity, email hello@hubaustralia.com or visit hubaustralia.com.
And now it's time for the interview on CRE Success, the podcast.
Dan, welcome to CRE Success, the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's step inside the virtual elevator for your elevator pitch. Dan, who are you?
I'm Daniel O'Brien. My mission is to create wealth for both my clients and my team. And our clients own commercial properties, anything from office, shop, shed. And our role is just to deliver them great returns by selling, leasing or managing those assets for them. At the moment, we've got 2 real estate offices in the Inner West and South Sydney.
Awesome. And I heard you say your mission is to, was it create money or value for your clients and the people who work with you?
Yeah, create wealth for my clients and my team.
Right. I like that. How long's that been your mission?
Since I started the office.
Awesome. Love that. Let's go back to that point when you started the office, because we can look at your LinkedIn profile. You've had a great long stretch with CBRE, a period with Knight Frank, and then you've opened the first office, I think in South Sydney with LJ Hooker Commercial, and You've just referenced the second office that you've opened. What was the attraction to open a new office with LJ Hooker?
I think, I know I was after a brand name, and LJ Hooker is very synonymous with real estate. So when you pick up the phone and you say you're from LJ Hooker, everyone immediately knows it's real estate. So I did like that part of the brand, rather than starting a Daniel O'Brien Real Estate or some other name like that initially. And then I guess for me, being an owner rather than an employee was my main driver. I was an employee, like you've said, for many years, and I've started businesses before while I was at like CBRE. I started a little software thing, and I'm always kind of looking for the next sort of side hustle, and this is my permanent side hustle now. So owning is a great attraction to me.
What's the difference between working at a company like CBRE, which in the commercial real estate world is synonymous with commercial real estate, versus working with your own franchise at LJ Hooker Commercial, which, and for listeners outside of Australia may not be familiar, LJ Hooker is, a very long-standing brand and very well known in residential, but perhaps not as well known in the commercial real estate space. So what are some of the differences between working under those two banners?
The main difference is before I was building wealth for shareholders, and that was a key focus when you're at a global firm, and trying to focus on, how many fees you can pull out of the market, not just for yourself, but for the shareholders. There's no kind of politics, no reporting, no oversight from managers here. And I just find less pointless meetings, when you've got a small business. So for me, that's the main difference. But in terms of day to day, there's not much difference really. Selling and leasing is a process, and that's very similar. Likewise, I guess I'm running similar size team now to what I used to at CBRE and Knight Frank. So that's similar. Different, I guess, is, I'm paying the wages and the rent and all the overheads now. So that's another difference, I guess.
And what about from the client's perspective? Do they sort of notice any difference in terms of, I guess client service is the same, but in terms of the experience for the clients when they're dealing with someone like yourself at LJ Hooker Commercial versus a big firm, is there any difference?
Not in my view, no. And I've been told that by a number of clients who followed me, between firms, and I've been doing this, 15 years now, and I've got clients that tend to follow me, and a lot of my staff have got clients that follow them as well. And, real estate is a people business. So all the clients care about is the guy on the other end of the table, the guy going to be speaking to the buyers or the tenants, which is more important, I think, than what business card you're carrying or which brand you're working for.
Of course, when you're running your own office, you've got to be on top of a lot of other things like property management and also general business operations like HR and finance. How have you gone with all of those additional burdens or responsibilities?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, and I've never worked in property management. So I've got great faith in my asset managers, because I really have no idea about, I know collect rent and pay the bills, but aside from that, I leave it all to them. It's kind of the joke around here. I am the legal department. I am the HR. I am finance. So I'm kind of the director of everything when you run your own business. And that took a while to get used to. But, I've had really good mentors in each of those areas. So I'm battling on. So
how long does it sort of take before you start feeling confident and less sleepless nights after you start your business to when hopefully you don't have too many sleepless nights now. But how long does it take to get that confidence?
Probably 12 months, to be honest, Darren. Yeah, 12 to 18 months, if I'm being really honest. There's just so much that gets thrown at you that you're just not expecting. And especially my growth was pretty fast the first 12 months. I started with 3 people and we grew to 12 or 14 in my first 12 months. So a lot of that was me recruiting and hiring and, negotiating contracts and so many sign-on fees. But yeah, it was a lot of recruiting and really, really quick growth for me in the first 12 months.
And how much of the people management piece takes up all of your time?
It takes up half a day a week, because I sit down with my team members every week just for 30 minutes. So it's just me and them in a room, and we basically go over what their goals were last week and if they hit them, and then what their goals are this week. Yeah, with 20 staff, I don't catch up with all 20, but the agency side I do. There's 14 of us now, and all the agents, sales and leasing agents, I catch up with once a week.
Basically one-on-one meetings.
Yep, one-on-one. Yep.
I find that's a great way to stay on top of what's going on. It can be a more efficient communication process rather than going back and forth with emails all week. You can got one time where people can communicate with you. You can also, I think, stay on top of what's going on in their world and
yep.
Help them out with whatever they've got. So one-on-ones are great, I reckon. And I like you can build a relationship with all your people.
100%. And, any manager needs to be honest with their staff, and they need to be honest with the manager. And, when you're in that closed room, it does breed a lot of honesty, and, sometimes they get a pat on the back and sometimes they get a kick in the bum. And it's just really good to be honest with your staff and have that in return.
Definitely. I've seen from your social media profile that you're quite honest and you like to curate a personal brand that goes beyond commercial real estate capability. A lot of what you post on LinkedIn, I've seen some success quotes and even, stuff around the importance of family. So what's your intention when you're sharing that type of content?
In regards to the success quotes, I just find they give me a bit of a pick me up, and yeah, I really like them. So that's why I share those. In terms of the family side, it's good for people to see another side of you rather than just another chest beating agent talking about all the deals they do on social media. So like I said before, Darren, it's a real people business, property. And, I'm not just an agent, right? I'm a dad, I'm a son, a brother, a partner. Like, there's lots of aspects to my life, and I'm happy to open the lid a little bit on all of those, just so people get to see the real me. And I think that's really important. Clients like it, and I'm not sure if my network likes it or not, but I'm just trying to be a little bit different in that, in that regard.
Well, social media, I think, has changed a lot about how we engage with clients and prospects in the market. Gives us the opportunity to, I guess, curate that personal brand at scale rather than have to rely on one-on-one relationships. But what's something that maybe hasn't changed about commercial real estate in the years that you've been in the business?
The main thing that hasn't changed, and it's the main thing that I love, is the fact that there's a real skill in bringing two parties together in a negotiation. And that's something that gives me an adrenaline rush every time I do it. And all the social media stuff, that's all great. That's all changed. All the web portals have changed. You're not advertising in the paper anymore. All that kind of stuff changes to a point, and then you get down to the real crux of the art of being a negotiator. And that hasn't changed, and I don't think that will ever change. And that's the beauty of what we do.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Dan, and ask you what are a couple of principles of negotiation that you've found to be that have held true and have seen you through some tough negotiations over your career.
The ability to hold your nerve and be silent when you need to. That's a really big one. Sometimes the person that talks first loses. Also, having the ability to be able to get up and leave a negotiation. I find that's quite powerful. If you think, at some point that it's not that you haven't got anything to lose, but I think the person who is willing to walk away is the one that generally gets what they want. So they're probably my two tips.
How about when it comes to keeping your clients on the track of negotiation that you want to keep them on and making sure they keep under control? How do you manage that?
A number of ways. You just remind them of why they entered into the deal in the first place. And then you could ask them, okay, what happens if you don't buy this? Or what happens if you don't sell this property? What's next? And you're not asking it in a smart aleck way. You're just saying, okay, so what are the options here? If you don't do the deal, your options are A, B, or C. And let's talk through those. And then, you try and bring them back to close them, but you've always got to act as an advisor rather than a pushy salesman just trying to, close the deal and condition them and all that kind of stuff.
Let's talk about success, achievement, recognition. And it seems like that you've been a high achiever from when you started in the industry. I can see from your LinkedIn profile that you picked up Rookie of the Year in your first year at CRE and a number of agency and leadership awards in your later years with the firm. And then within 18 months of opening your own office with LJ Hooker Commercial, you picked up the Best Commercial Agency of 2017 at the New South Wales Real Estate Institute Awards. So I'd like to ask you, with that particular one, how did you manage to pull that off in your first 18 months of operation?
I'm actually finalist in that award again tonight. But in my first, I think that, the first 12 months was really, for me, a really period of fast growth. And I think, some people saw that as impressive. I think I touched on before, we went from 2 or 3 staff to 14 in my first 12 months. And during those 12 months, I personally had a great run with some quite high profile sales and leases, which got some airplay in the news and newspapers and such. So I think the profile of the office started really well. And I mean, I don't know, we have to ask the judges why they gave me that award. But I think my perspective, I think that was probably a main reason.
Well, I've seen from your posts on social media that you often use the words fun and professional to describe the culture of your offices. Can you tell me why those are two pillars of the culture that you've built? And for those of us who might think they're mutually exclusive, maybe you can explain how fun and professional can gel together to produce excellent results.
Yeah, sure. I think just recognizing when to switch off and switch on, if you can recognize that, it's a really good balance. And I mean, no one wants a wisecracking agent to kind of represent them. So being professional is of course paramount. But when you come back to the office, you've got to be able to have some fun and enjoy the people you're working with, because we spend so much time together. I mean, it would be a nightmare for me to go to the office and just not enjoy my time there or not enjoy the people that I'm with. And I think that's normal. It's, human condition. So I think it is really important to have some fun. But yeah, striking that balance of turning off and on is key to that, though, Darren.
What are some of the sort of professional standards that you set in the office as an expectation that people need to meet and that people aspire to in terms of reaching those standards that ultimately lead to results?
I try and guide the team. So we do lots of training. We do lots of role play training, once a fortnight with everyone, and that kind of hones your craft. The people that we're dealing with are all managing directors or financial controllers or entrepreneurs or developers. So by nature, they're all very proficient at negotiating. So if we're not, we're not going to be able to represent our clients as well as we should. So for me, a lot of emphasis goes on training and improving the staff. And, I find role play is the best way to do that, and just throw objections at them and just see how they react, because the more they do that, the much better they'll be when they're out in the field.
In terms of your own leadership, how do you appreciate your team's performance? Do you have any maybe thoughts to share about the importance of and ways to recognize the performance of your team?
Yeah, that's a really big one for me. So it really varies. Like it could be a general email going around saying, well done for doing a certain thing, or a mention at a team meeting, or I've put $5,000, the prize $5,000 cash up for whoever gets the most listings in October. And then, we love going out and being social. So, like Melbourne Cup and end of financial year party, Christmas parties, all those kind of things. I find it really important that we reward the group. And, we give out specific awards at those functions normally as well for the staff. So recognition's a really big thing for me. And I don't think enough of it happens, to be honest. And you need to pat the staff on the back when they do a great job.
Yeah, I think there's an expectation that people will be compensated for what they do in terms of monetary compensation, and that's just expected. But then there's the non-financial stuff, which can really go a long way to building a relationship and a culture of excellence and appreciation.
And sometimes even more so, Darren, like, earning money is great, but you're right. Yeah, being recognised for in different ways is, I think, sometimes more important than the money for some people. Absolutely.
So is there anything in particular that you look to teach your newer recruits, people that are a bit green in the business, that come and work in your office, that you try and show them to set them up for future success?
Yeah, normally the juniors with no experience kind of tail me around for a year or two, and then they learn by osmosis. They're quite active in the role play, when we do training. So that brings them on pretty quick. Other guys and, girls who've come from other firms or industries, I try to keep it pretty simple, and there's certain actions that if you do them every day consistently, you will be successful. And, real estate what we do is actually quite simple when you break it down. It's not easy. It's actually really difficult, but the process is quite simple. So it's making connections with people, finding out their motivators, finding out their pain points, and helping them. And if you boil it all down, that's what we do. So doing it consistently and speaking to 30 or 40 people, 50 or however many people, new people every day, doing that 5 days a week for an entire year or two will really, really give you your own database to mine. And then once you've got that, there's normally no stopping you. If you've got 2,000 or 3,000 or 2,000 to 2,500 contacts that are, genuine and real, if you just keep mining those contacts, you'll kill it in this game.
And do you have any systems for making sure that you're checking in with certain people within a certain time frame? How do you sort of stay on top of that?
In terms of clients or in terms of bringing staff on?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was moving on to clients there. So, if you've got those 2,500 contacts,
yep.
You've got to get in front of them a certain number of times a year or
yep.
whatever it is. What's your system for kind of making sure that you stay relevant in their world?
Yeah, so I think, a lot of it now is staying in touch with them via market updates or monthly emails, or if they're owners, sending them information, which we can do at a press of a button now. You don't have to ring around, tell 100 owners in the street about a recent sale. You can just email them if you choose to. So I think at the moment, in technology at the moment, it is quite easy to stay in touch with those people, and you don't need to speak to them every month. Like I'll try and speak to all of those people once a year. But yeah, it just depends on their own situation. But I would say, Darren, as a minimum, you should speak to them at least once a year, and you should be sending them some kind of communication once a month.
Got it. What's the one thing that you continuously and consistently focus on that helps you be successful?
For me, it's goal setting and visualizing the goals that you set. That's really important. So getting really detailed on the goals that you set and having weekly, monthly, 6 monthly and yearly goals. And I love goals because the minute you set yourself a goal, it just becomes unacceptable to stay where you are right now. And most of those awards you spoke about before, they're awards that I've set myself a goal to win. And at the start of a year or in whatever, and I said, okay, I want to win this award this year, or this and this year. And, it goes to everything. It goes to your personal life. It goes to business. The more detailed your goals are, the more you can visualize them. And then visualization is such an important part of hitting your goals. So for me, I really like doing that. I find it really simple, and you can basically design your life around what goals you set yourself.
And when you talk about visualizing your goals, are you talking about actually like seeing yourself in the moment of achieving it, or how you feel in the moment? What's your visualization process?
Yeah, it's normally it's both, and normally it's either during or just after. If you meditate, like I only meditate for 5 or 10 minutes, 3 times a week, but that's enough for me. And then you do it then. And I might do it once a week and just go through your goals and where you want to be. And normally I do it either when I'm in a meditation or just after it.
Last question for you, Dan, is what are you most passionate about in your life right now?
I'm passionate about spending time with my young daughters, Lucy and Jen, whenever I have custody of them. And I just find that everything kind of blends away when I'm with them. And, seeing them grow and develop is amazing. And, that just gives me the greatest joy at the moment. I'm also passionate about, like I mentioned to you, goal setting before. I've got some goals I need to hit, next calendar year, which is my 5th year in business. So I should hit all those by 1st of July next year. So I'm working on them right now.
And how old are Lucy and Jen?
Lucy's 12 and Genevieve's 8.
Oh.
So, yeah, just beautiful ages, So, I'm just trying to enjoy every second I have with them.
I have a 5-month-old daughter. So,
oh, wow.
I'll have to come back to you for some future tips.
You will. It gets easier, Darren. It gets easier.
And it's been great hearing about your climb to the top, why you opened not 1 but 2 offices, and a little sneak peek into some of the big plans you have in 2021. I'll look forward to seeing what those are. I want to say thank you very much for joining us on CRE Success, the podcast. My pleasure, Darren. Thanks so much for inviting me on. It's been great.
For more information about our guest, visit cresuccess.co/podcast. And now a final thought from Darren Krakowiak.
Thank you to Dan for being with us on this episode. Guess what? Dan and his team won the award that he mentioned in the interview that very evening, which was Friday, October the 30th. It's the second time that he's won that award in just 4 years. What a great accomplishment. It really is proof of what is possible when you set a goal and go after it with intention and purpose. Congratulations to Dan and his team. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned a webinar that I was running on the podcast, and we did put that on, and it went relatively smoothly considering it was the first webinar I've ever hosted. So I've decided to iron out some of those kinks and do it again. We'll be doing it this time at a time which is more convenient for people who are located in the US and Canada, Europe, and Australia, New Zealand. The previous webinar was ideally timed for people in Asia Pacific and to a lesser extent those in the US and Canada. Everyone, though, is welcome to attend. If you're listening to this episode within 1 week of it being released, you'll be able to join us live. Just head to the podcast page of our website and click the button under the list of episode transcripts that says Live and Free Webinar to register. I hope you can make it. That's all we've got for you this week. As always, thank you very much for listening, and I will speak to you soon.
Thanks for listening to CRE Success, the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to us on your favourite podcast platform and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. For more information about the show, just check the show notes on your podcast app or visit us online at cresuccess.co.
Join pioneering landlords and property managers using technology and data powered by the leader in commercial property management software, Released. Born in the cloud, Released gives you centralized management of your portfolio with instant access to client and lease information across property managers, landlords, accountants, and tenants. With Released Smart Automation, managing single to large multi-tenanted properties with complex outgoings is a breeze, driving real-time insights so you can make proactive data-led decisions. Visit re-leased.com to find out more.